The main missions menu is well laid out and nicely designed, as it follows the same theme as previous and future games. It's a sensible looking screen. The mission screen is a bit overwhelming, given how the currency in the game works and how limited it is once you have enough playtime. Knowing how many tokens you earn from objectives in the mission, especially optional ones, becomes irrelevant. The map blueprint is a great feature for planning ahead and knowing what the map looks like without having to enter it first. Contrary to the mission menu, when in-game, the objectives area, legend, and menu are very overwhelming and could easily be cut down to the player's liking, or cut out entirely. They also take up a lot of screen space. The objective markers are confusing because of the wide area they cover and usually having secondary objectives over top of them. Especially when you're stuck or confused, you can log a lot of time just walking around looking for something that isn't clearly marked. The marker camera has too much design for its usability in my opinion, and it takes so long to mark enemies, especially with an animation that serves no purpose. It's a bit of a headache. In SGW3 it was very useful and snappy. It also has a dead zone when near objects that isn't clear and is hard to navigate around, especially on higher difficulties. For PC, the game has very basic settings and poor font in contrast to the white menu block it's overlaid on. How glitchy the act of picking up bodies is still blows my mind, as most of the time you were safer not bothering. Another reason higher difficulties eliminated certain problems, they didn't matter as much. Looting bodies is a hassle because there isn't usually a specific reason for it, and doing a number of enemies at a time is very boring. Sensitivity for enemies seeing you is annoying when you're hiding, and the POV for the soldier versus the player is different, and in order to kill them you have to get spotted. There is a lot of useless traveling in the game. It's not designed like Sniper Elite 5 or SGW3 is, so it's more like a waste of time than let's go to the next spot now. The bullet cams are repetitive animations and the controls are inferior to newer games. However, the graphics and content value is probably the best at the time the game came out in its category. Snipers are impossible to see half the time unless you know where to look and zoom with heat binoculars. It's annoying. Hints needed for challenges in each mission, as many were impossible to figure out unless you knew exactly how and what to do them. The deagle is extremely unrealistic in this game. It isn't heard from close range, has a massive magazine, and without a scope can accurately hit a target far away with very little sway.
And isolation is his friend.
The 357 Magnum is louder than the Deagle, has a better iron sights, and reloads extremely slowly. The P99 has horrible iron sights, is way too quiet and less subsonic ammo is an option, and kills armored enemies with 2 center mass shots.
Don't like it as much.
The M9 has a great sound, good magazine, decent iron sights, and doesn't look like plastic.
Oh, that was a different sound. Three back shots. Obviously one headshot, but it's a confident headshot. So it is 3 back shots, okay? 2 torso shots.
The Reese rifle has a solid sound, great feedback, an overly basic scope, and looks really cheap. The RONB 82 rifle packs one of the biggest punches in the game, is the rifle the enemy snipers use, has a great scope, and a really fake squeak when fired.
Echo 2 to HQ, we have it. HQ, Kilo Juliet, Tango under mortar fire. Status unclear, out.
The SV Amor has a horrible scope, solid feel, great power, and it has a massive downside I can't remember. The TAC 700 blower looks like a Nerf rifle for adults. It has a very slow reload speed and plastic-sounding animations for the bolt and firing with a silencer.
Stay focused.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Seeker, we have recovered a recording from Ivanovsky's lab from a listening device planted by our spy.
Can you guarantee that this will leave no evidence? It must look like an accident.
I assure you, General, this agent is colorless, odorless, tasteless.
But there will be convulsions.
None, sir. As our test subjects demonstrate. No spasms, no foaming at the mouth, no discoloration. Yet less than a drop on the skin is lethal.
Kurchatov has a reputation for being thick-skinned. Perhaps they will have time to find an antidote.
These tangos are definitely looking for someone.
It could be our informant. Find him before they do.
Glorious leader is as good as dead already.
We got a dead fucking soldier here.
soldiers. Give me their positions.
Over there! Please, don't!
The reasons I think SGW3 is possibly the best sniper game ever. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 brings a lot to the table that wasn't in the second installment, including bullet cams and more than one camera angle and effect, skills and a multi-person story that was actually used as the game's main DLC packs and add quite a lot of punch for what they are, even if we consider today's newer versions, Contracts 1 and 2. The reason I have over 800 logged hours on the game in my Steam library is because I played the crap out of it. Every possible replay there was to be found, I did find. The reason I stopped playing the game was actually because I needed something with different graphics, something I hadn't mastered. With the new game, Contracts 1, I was brought to a challenge I wasn't expecting and I didn't buy the game originally due to my skepticism. The controller feedback and sensitivity was completely different, the menus, gameplay style, and maps were also completely different. To tell a tale, when I played SGW2, the game was a lot like a Call of Duty campaign except much more adventure, a bullet cam, and sniper-based gameplay. SGW3 is an open-world version of that game with GTA 5-like areas where each mission takes place, and even a tunnel you fast travel to access different additional maps for more missions you play throughout the campaign. Contracts 1 removed the open-world habitat, vehicles, and instead made the missions very diverse and dense with multiple objectives, traveling without a vehicle, and enemy installments and camps in various locations. Contracts 2 is in its own category, but not unlike SGW2 in several ways. Right down to the small details, SGW3 has elements that excite and intrigue me, interesting weapons, a very impressive story that literally could be a book of itself, and mission locations that make you feel more in the zone than just playing another game. I'll be revisiting SGW3 on my YouTube channel shortly just to see what these years have shown the community. Thanks for watching and follow for more.